ladies and gentlemen. This is Jeff Rains coming to you again with Foundation of Civilization, or as I'm trying to calculate and come up with a better name for this, my weekly rundown of news events, an hour-changing world. I go through this video every week and to look at how are the markets doing. Most of us have seen the chaos over the past few months. Where are the Western military assets? What are they planning? What kind of engagements, conflicts have been erupting? Well, we had a nice one start to erupt this past week. What are the significant events that have occurred around the world? Well, let me give you my rundown of the things that I see happening and the potential implications. Starting with oil, West Texas Intermediate crude ended the week at $61.01. Brent North Sea crude ended at $63.91. And I was a little surprised at this. The note that I had showed that OPEC ended at $62.87, even though that typically ends higher than Brent. Well, I'll have to keep an eye on that and make sure that I had that accurate. Gold dropped some, I believe it rose just a little bit, but held above 3,300 at $3,326.15 an ounce. Silver, also, I think it grew a little bit this week and was at $32.73. The gold holding such a high value is the indications that people are concerned about the struggles around the world and the volatility of the world. Apparently, the first tariff deal under the new U.S. president is being prepared to be signed between the U.S. and the U.K. They agreed to a new trade deal reducing tariffs on each other's materials. And I quote from the article, the agreement will open up the British market to American beef, ethanol, and other agricultural products. This according to the White House. It also allows British cars and steel better access to the U.S. consumers. The deal will maintain a 10% tariff on most goods. It will cut tariffs for UK autos from 27% down to 10%, up to the first 100,000 cars. The UK steel exports will be duty-free as opposed to the current 25% tariff. The UK will eliminate tariffs on ethanol for up to 1.4 billion liters of ethanol. The US will lift duties on aircraft engines, which will benefit the UK's Rolls-Royce company. Meanwhile, UK plans to buy $10 billion worth of Boeing aircraft. There are a number of other measures meant to reduce tariffs on both nations' sides. I'm hoping that, personally, the prawn-flavored crisp will be more readily available near me soon. The military and naval deployments continue pretty much as they have been for the past few months. ISR aircraft remain focused over northern Mexico and continued surveillance of western U.S. mountains. Those 6 B-2 aircraft bombers are still deployed in San Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. But this week they've been joined by 2 to 4 B-52 aircraft. And while the B-2 is a stealthy airframe that sneaks into enemy airspace, the B-52 puts off a radar signature of a large building. If the radar system is operating, it'll know the B-52 is inbound. The benefits of the B-52 is that it carries a very huge payload and delivers a lot of bombs to their targets. With the Navy, 295 ships, 100 of them are deployed, 69 of them are underway. The USS George Washington is still in Yokosuka, Japan. The USS America still in Sasebo, Japan. The USS Carl Vinson is operating in the Gulf of Aden to support operations against the Houthis in Yemen. The USS Abraham Lincoln, last we heard, was in San Diego. The USS Harry Truman is operating in the Red Sea with Operation Rough Rider targeting Houthis. That in conjunction with the Carl Vinson and various other military elements in the area. The Harry S. Truman, this week it continued its ill-fated cruise and lost another F-18 to operations. An arresting wire failed during aircraft recovery, which, being in the Air Force, I find a strange way to call a landing. But anything on an aircraft carrier is very different than the hotel rooms that I was used to. Unfortunately, this is a very common occurrence with aircraft, even during times of peace. Both aircrew ejected and were recovered safely. The USS Nimitz is operating in the South China Sea. It was in the Philippine Sea, but I guess it's moved a little bit. The USS Ronald Reagan, last report we had, was away from its home port of Bremerton, Washington. No word on exactly where it was operating. It could be operating secretly, or who knows. The USS Tripoli was at its home port in San Diego. The Wasp, I was able to note, departed Norfolk on, I believe it was a week ago from this past Monday, which should have been April 28th. The USS Gerald R. Ford departed Norfolk, I believe on this past Monday, which would have been May 5th. And the last report I had, the USS George H.W. Bush was in Norfolk, Virginia. Over in the European markets, the DAX ended at 23,499.32. The FTSE at 8,554.80. The CAC 40 ended at 7,743.75. The IBEX ended at 13,554.10.10. In Romania, what I find is interesting, they call him a controversial, but one of Romania's far-right party members won the second round of the elections. The Romanians had an election. They found that it was there were a lot of anomalies with it, and so they decided to scrap that and go back and redo all of their election. This guy, the guy who won the second round, presents as a nationalist. He supports protecting the people of his country and holding the bureaucrats accountable, which disturbs many in power in that country, in Romania, and in Europe. This past week, MI5 took down a terror cell in London that was planning a major attack. The terror cell were a bunch of Iranians, and apparently they stopped them just days or hours before they planned on taking action. Germany voted in a new parliament, but the leader of the party with the most votes failed to secure the position as chancellor. Another vote will be held on Tuesday, and this leader, the leader of the Conservative Party, which is kind of funny because he's definitely not conservative by U.S. standards, but he said all the right things, made people believe that he was going to be a moderate, and anyway, now he's struggling to get the position of chancellor. We'll keep an eye on this and see what ends up happening. Russia hosted the Chinese president during the 80th anniversary of Victory Day Parade in Moscow. In Asia, the Nikkei ended the week at 37,503.33. The SSE index ended the week at 3,342 and 0 cents. The Hang Seng ended at 22,867.74. The BSE Sensex ended at 79,454.47. And the Nifty 50 ended at 24,008.00. So $24,008. Trade talks continue between the United States and China, but nothing solid has been established. In fact, it's been a lot more aggressive rhetoric. Meanwhile, ships are piling up at U.S. ports, unable to offload. Materials and parts are starting to dry up for the U.S. manufacturers. This While bad for the United States, it is absolutely horrendous for the Chinese. Chinese factories are shutting down and people are marching in the streets. We've also had a few reports of factories burning down, which sometimes, unfortunately, factory is a very loose term for a building. One of the exciting events that I'll do a separate video on this with more details, because there are a lot more details that need to be looked at and addressed, is that India and Pakistan came to blows. That terror attack from I think it was the 22nd or 26th of April, the Indians decided to take action and attacked a terrorist site. The Pakistanis took exception. I say a terrorist site. The reason why I call it a terrorist site is because it was not a military location. And the Pakistanis, though, took exception and decided to retaliate, which caused the Indians to further retaliate. And later on, I believe it was actually yesterday, they went ahead and attacked several of the Pakistani military sites. Luckily, however, this morning I found out that the U.S. has brokered a ceasefire that will hopefully turn into a peace deal in the near future. Like I said, I'll go into more details. There are a lot more details as to what's really going on in that area of the world. Iran says it's committed to talks with the United States over its nuclear program, but expansions of the issues are unacceptable. 20 Israeli fighter jets struck in Yemen after a Houthi missile hit the Ben Gurion airport. This past week, the U.S. president claimed that the United States would stop bombing Houthis, as the Houthis had decided that they were tired and ready to give up. Unfortunately, nobody got the message to the Houthis, or at least not in time, because they responded with attacks on the Harry S. Truman and other U.S. assets in the area. Further in the Middle East, Hamas says that it is no point in further Gaza truce talks if Israel continues their hunger war. In Africa, at least 20 people were killed in Sudan after a suspected drone strike hit a prison. In Abuja, Nigeria, at least 30 people have been killed after gunmen attacked travelers on a major highway in southeastern part of Nigeria. And according to Amnesty International, at least 30 people were dead in a separatist attack in the southeastern Nigeria. The U.S. says Congo and Rwanda have submitted a draft peace proposal that will hopefully settle that conflict between the two nations in Central Africa. South Sudan became its own country not long ago, and of course, as with most any country, there are still lots of shakeups. Right now, it looks like South Sudan could be on the brink of collapse and/or civil war. The Dow Jones Industrial Average ended the week at 41,249.38. The S&P ended the week at 5,649.91, and the Nasdaq ended at 17,928.92. In Colombia, the nation of Colombia, 200 people were arrested, being suspected of being members of a cartel, and accused of paying recruits $3,500 for dead police officers, for what they quote dead police officers. In Mexico, I hope I state this correctly, a mayor has been arrested. The mayor of Teochitlan, and Mayor Jose Santiago, He was arrested as part of an investigation by the government prosecutors into probable omissions or complicity of authorities of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. Now, mind you, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel is a particularly dangerous one. They have a number of former special operations members running the cartel. The CIA is looking to cut 1,200 jobs in an effort to overhaul national security. The FBI has opened an investigation, 250 investigations as a matter of fact, that tied to a violent online network, 764. This network preys on teens by... Some of the videos request the teens that are targeted to send naked photos of themselves or suggestive photos. Some of them request violent images, them attacking neighbors' pets or local pets, local animals, or other people for all that matter. Anyway, I hope that they get arrested and sent to jail like they need to be sent. One of the most stunning admissions this week came from the Secretary of the Treasurer, Scott Bessent. As he testified before the House Appropriations, Financial Service and General Government Subcommittee, he was at an oversight hearing and admitted, and I want you to hear this clearly, he admitted that the Treasury cannot track 1/3 of the $1.5 billion payments the U.S. government makes each year. Now, that's 500 million payments. That's not a dollar figure. That's the number of payments. The dollar loss could be in the billions or even trillions of dollars. How is this not the most important message in the nation, if not the world? It doesn't matter if you are black, white, straight, gay, citizen, illegal immigrant. The U.S. government is stealing massive amounts of money. While they want us to, just last year, they wanted to scrutinize people who are mowing lawns and babysitters who might have made $600 in a year, but they refuse to be investigated where they send millions or even billions of dollars. If we don't get control of this issue, we won't survive much longer as a nation. This story leads me into my next story. It's the infrastructure problems that are mounting. And they've been mounting for years. Every election cycle, I hear politicians whining about they need more money for infrastructure, and then I see stories like that one, and I mean, they're just throwing the money away. Well, they're not. They're laundering the money into them and their friends' hands. This week, the Newark Airport experienced a couple of serious failures. Actually, it's been over the past couple of weeks. Luckily, they only lasted a few minutes each. Last week, the air traffic controllers lost contact with the aircraft for a whole minute, radio contact. This week, the radars and the radios failed, and controllers could not see or communicate with the aircraft. Though this may not be an issue for somebody on the ground, when dozens of aircraft are in the air in close proximity and they're looking to land on the same runway, the air traffic controllers have to deconflict their arrival times. That can cause serious problems. A serious problem. If you want to know how civilizations come apart, this is how it happens. You don't wake up one morning and everything's just in chaos. Not likely. You wake up one morning and there's a problem within a major city or a state with electricity. Then communications, then water. Eventually you wake up and nothing is going right, but because things were not addressed when they were minor, everything comes undone and no one can communicate, turn on the lights, or get water out of the tap. This is because we are seeing this happen because our politicians and their allies and the bureaucracies have been stealing our tax money and laundering it to themselves and their friends. Although each year the U.S. Congress approves infrastructure upgrades, the money is paid out, but the infrastructure never gets upgraded. Now that we see how the money is being spent and not traced, we know why. Someone comes along and requests a payment. The Treasury Department doesn't question if it's legitimate. No receipts are required, and the payment goes through. The money disappears and nothing is fixed. And we get air traffic controllers who can't talk to the aircraft. One of the last statements that, or one of the last stories that I have here is an interesting move. The U.S. president appointed a Fox News host as a top prosecutor in the District of Washington, D.C. Janine Pirro will serve as the interim prosecutor for D.C. Ed Martin was serving as top prosecutor on an interim basis and was nominated to take the seat permanently. However, he lost support from Republicans, and so the president appointed Pirro. She was a prosecutor in New York City some time ago, which is where she met the president, and they started their professional relationship. This position, and you need to pay attention to this position because this is very significant. She will be responsible for prosecuting politicians and or bureaucrats that have been accused of breaking the law. That means if someone actually brings a case over the money laundering that has been going on for the past decades, she'll be the one to prosecute it. The 500... the cases that I hope that I see prosecuted, the $500 billion a year that is going to programs that ran out years ago, the 1/3 of the payments, like I noted, payments that the Treasury cannot trace, the millions of Social Security numbers that were given out with no authority so that the recipients could get benefits they never earned and never put money into, she will be the one to prosecute them. Judge Pirro, I only have one request. Please, get us some perp walks soon. I'm dying over here waiting for someone to come out in handcuffs and look ashamed. I don't care if the Democrats or Republicans, they all need to go. And don't send them to Club Fed, one of the nice posh resorts in the United States. We've got a perfectly good place down in Gitmo in Cuba. Or now, it seems we can send them to CCOT in El Salvador. Oh, I'd love to see some people go down there. Whatever you do, please make it start happening soon. That is all that I have for this week. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is Jeff Rains. I am doing what I am fulfilling my habit of looking through the news and sharing it with you. I absolutely love doing this, and I hope that you love hearing it from me. I will, I look forward to talking to you guys again very soon. And fortunately, I seem to be in a pretty good position so that I can do this a little more frequently, which I plan on doing. Please help me out and make some comments in the below. And even if you don't like what I have to say, especially if you don't like what I have to say. And look forward to talking to you guys again very soon. This has been my rundown for the week of May the 10th. And we'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.